Okay, good morning again to everybody online and physically present here in Rome. To be honest, I've done a lot of presentations, but this is the first time hybrid and never been assisted so good like today by Laura. So thanks for that. The topic of today, this session, is ecosystems and platforms for energy efficient building renovation. In this coming 90 minutes, we have several speakers which will dedicate their time slot to the part that they were involved in BIM Speed project. And BIM Speed project, that is a 4-year during research project, and it is having its main objective to push BIM for renovation products by providing an ecosystem of interoperable tools embedded in a cloud platform. So, as we all know, BIM is almost everywhere. It's not so much on the technical barriers, but really the next step is to make it feasible for, well, let's basically say everybody all around. So also, as we say in Dutch, the contractor around the corner. That is not properly Dutch, but low entrance. So we are looking into an holistic platform with a set of interoperable tools. And of course, we are applying them in several demonstration cases. So that's what we want to share with you in this session. And I will briefly introduce the speakers that will subsequently give their presentation in this workshop. We are taking off with Professor Timo Hartmann from Technical University Berlin, and he will explain some things about the cloud-based BIM collaboration. So a new process, how can you integrate it? So that's more an overall approach. He will be followed up by Nicola Pastorelli from CSTB and the BIM Speed platform that has been developed and has been used already. That will be explained by Nicola. And next to that, the BIMSERVER ecosystem by Pablo Guilabert from SAIPI, with some tools that are connecting and used in the platform. Then we have foreseen to have a small session for some discussion and Q&A. So what I would like to ask you, if you have any questions, either here in the room or online, please send it via the chat. And if you could also, in your question, add to which speaker you would like to address this question, then it's more convenient to organize it then. Then we will have a short break and we continue with the second part, which is more pragmatical, more about implementation, as I said. We are starting with Julius Jacob from MetaBuild from Germany. He will share some thoughts with us about a platform-based optimization of the energy-efficient designs. Continued with guidelines for BIM-based procurement, collaboration platforms IPD for renovation projects by Richard Stichter from Plan Blauen, also from Germany. And then Agnieszka Lukaszewski, sorry, still have difficulty to pronounce your name, Agnieszka, after all those years. But we're going to practice the coming days still. But she will concluding, in my opinion, with a very nice overview of some demonstrations where you see that all the stuff that we are talking about in the first part is really being applied. So that's quite excited. And again, we will conclude with some discussion and questions and answers. So far, my introduction, and I would like to give the floor literally, because Timo is present here, to Timo.
And then, but I take my mask off, Andre. I hope you don't mind. Starting up the presentation. Do we know how many people are online? But now I don't see my presentation here. Uh-oh.
To be honest, the research project is not that difficult, but sessions
Like-
like this, they're the most complicated ones.
Okay, I need a good massage place after this then.
You could-
Ah, I will see there.
I hope
Okay.
your eyes are better than mine.
Yeah. But is this my presentation? No,
Oh, then it's my mistake. Sorry. My bad.
it's the PDF. Yeah. Is that PDF? Yeah, the EeB platforms. The bottom one. Yeah. Just a matter of minutes. That's the one. So, all right, there's like people in the room, but it feels a little bit like giving an online presentation with the screen and the microphone. But I guess it's still nice to be here in person. So I want to give a little bit of a introduction to maybe the basic philosophy of the BIM Speed project and why we think that platforms are one of the key things to allow for EeB renovations. Can I switch it forward? Okay. Okay. So I want to start off with like some findings from another project that we had previously, the P2 Endure project. We just finished it. And so on that project, we realized a couple of things about why it's so hard to scale deep renovation efforts. So we know that we can do good deep renovations. So we have like 1 to 2%, I think, of the renovations across Europe really reach 90% more better energy efficiency of the buildings. But we also know that most of the buildings, 60 to 70% of the renovations we do have very little effect on the energy use, right? And one of the problems that we learned on P2 Endure is that if you look at the buildings we are renovating across Europe, they're very different, right? So here's an example of like how buildings look in Denmark and how buildings look in the Netherlands, right? And how they're organized and so forth. So it's kind of, there's not a cookie cutter approach to building renovation across Europe. Even every district probably requires some sort of different approach. And yeah, trying to switch, right? And so what that means is that we need to kind of start thinking more in local networks, right? Because we need to involve specialists, actors, owners of buildings, renters, and so forth within local networks to really manage these EeB implementations. We can move on, right? So this is like a nice figure that Anneke Vervoort from the P2 Endure project from PAN Plus created for us, right? So changing like kind of from the traditional hierarchical structure that we are managing projects to a much more networked approach, right? Where different actors are much more integrated and in a communication structure that allows them to really account for the local character of their projects, right? And involve the knowledge of them. So this is another figure, but I think we can jump over this. Shows a little bit, you know, everybody needs to jump on board in the local district to enable this. And the second thing, it's not only actors, but we also have huge amounts of local data and information that we need to manage on these projects. So if you can just move on. So this is like, I always show this slide. So we have like, you know, much more information and data available. So it's just an article in 2015, probably it's worse by now, but we generate much more data, and the driving industries are transportation and cities. So we know actually much more, and we need to like make and leverage this data. So if we look at information data that we have available from buildings, so next slide please, we see of course we have BIM and CAD, so BIM Speed project, right? A lot of people work on that, which means actually BIM, it's not only a 3D model, and maybe this is a little bit misleading, this bit, but it's a database, and the database it's structured, And from this database, you can generate a lot of different views, right? And you store a lot of information. You see, you can generate from a BIM model, you generate floor plans, you can generate 3D representations, but you can also get tables and other information. Move on. When we look at information and data that we have on our projects, we have a lot more simulation results. Right, so we do energy performance analysis, acoustic analytics, lighting analysis, and so forth and so forth. And not only one, and this is what the figure in the lower right corner shows. We do this for many different alternatives. Right, so we want to evaluate 10, 20, 30, and in this case, I think 10,000 possible ways to renovate a building and simulate them to find the best solution. And that creates a lot of more data and information than one single BIM model or something else. And we need to also arrange for that. Can we move on to the next slide then? Oh yeah, perfect. Getting into power here. And then we have then we have text, right? So we must not forget in our digital world that most information that we have on projects available is actually in textual form. Reports, emails, things that people have written, and so forth, right? That we also need to manage. No, try. Yeah, I try. Like, the power doesn't work. And then the last aspect here is we have much more open data available. So GIS data about the district, maybe some other demographics data, who's living there, and so forth, that we also should and must account for when we want to renovate. Yeah. So thinking about these two things, what we need to do is bringing like actors, local stakeholder networks together with like the right information tools, right? And so that's one thing we try to do on BIM Speed, and this is like just an overview of our what we call our BIM Speed use case database. And yes, it's chaotic, it's big, it's large, right? It's not structured because there's too many use cases that involve too many people, that involve too many information sources, right? That you could think of these projects, right? And so this is kind of the problem, in my opinion, in our opinion, that we are facing on these projects. And so how do we use digital tools to solve this? And now we can go next slide. And so one of these solutions that is available, that becomes available to do this, and it's not from, of course, from our industry, so from other industries, right? So we know that to support these ecosystems around different actor networks and about like the large amount of information, we need to have dedicated platforms. And so what do these platforms do? This is just a slide I put in from, the 4 organizational principles of Industry 4.0. So what do these platforms need to achieve? Is first of all, they need to, of course, allow for networking. Machines, sensors, and humans can connect and communicate with each other. They need to be transparent. So information and data are open and transparently available. They need to provide technical assistance. And I think that's something we forget very often. We just talk about, linking BIM data, linked data, databases, and so forth. Information data is only valuable if it can provide assistance. So we need to have technical assistance, right? So computer systems that can assist humans in their tasks. And of course, because we are living no longer in a hierarchical structure, but in a network structure, we need to come to decentralized decision making. Right. And so these are the things the platforms really need to support. Yeah. And so one of the goals that we have, and I think there's some ick. Yeah, sorry, my fault. Should have. I don't know how that ended up there. But we kind of need to move from like this very structured notion that we have about our BIM world and about our standardized, right? So it says from an orderly, well standardized world into something that can support the complexity and the quickly changing networks, right? And systems and use cases that we really need to support EEB renovation. And so here's a picture of these platforms, because from other industries, we know these platforms can actually do that, right? I mean, there's like examples from mainly consumer industries, right? But many others that provide like open platforms where people can put data, where people can get together, right? Mostly for fun things nowadays, right? But they can, you know, on Facebook or whatsoever, but they can exchange information. They are pointed to dedicate information, but actually they are quite free and available. And they all offer APIs so other people can tie in, develop tools that they think are important for others and so forth, and they can grow and build up really big and good platforms that support people at the local level or small groups, right? So they have many different users, but they allow these users to get together in small groups around dedicated things, right? And so these support networking, transparency, and openness and decentralization, right? And so what we like to do, like this is a rather old figure of mine, but we want to create this kind of professional app store, professional platform for EEB renovation. So we have different information sources, can be a Revit model, can be a IFC model, can be a file store, can be basically anything. And the presentations we will see will show that we can link to different other platforms as well, different informations and so forth, right? And then we create interfaces that allow different applications, right? That support different use cases, different actors to support, right? And so this is again, right, so a nice figure from Anneke, right, this platform that allows to get people together around this information. So what will BIM Speed do? Provide an affordable cloud-based platform. I mean, we do already, I guess. Then create an interoperable set of tools based on this platform on top of it, but it's open, right? Everybody can actually create their own tool, right? It's an open API. Everybody who knows how to develop, how to program can do that. And we want to validate and standardize some of the procedures, but more demonstrating these aspects, right? In the sense that others can also develop their apps and see good illustrations of how it can be possible to bring these actors together. And so running from here, right, short overview. So what did we do so far and what are we doing? So we paved the way by creating the BIM Speed platform based on the French KROQI solution, based on the Nextcloud platform, right, which provides this platform, this open ecosystem where people can provide apps. We allow people to drive the platform. So we developed some tools to drive there on our highway. So we have different applications, different interfaces to different data sources, be it open source data, be it some ontologies, but also be it some apps and that's like file document standards and so forth, right? And on top of that, we also have some stunts already implemented, like very advanced and innovative applications, like for example, machine learning that can automatically identify different products and components that are implemented in buildings, right? And so this is the disclaimer we need to have. It's two projects, right? P2 and BIM Speed combined. And I hope that was a little bit of an introduction to the session. And I guess, Andre, you already said it, right? So now we're going to have nice presentations about platforms. So we get an introduction to two different platforms that can talk with each other. I guess there's the KROQI platform and now the BIM Speed platform. And there's the CEPA platform, right? We get, I guess, presentation about different tools. We get presentation about use cases to see a little bit how this ecosystem around our BIM Speed platform can evolve and is evolving at the moment. That's it from me.
Thank you very much, Timo.
I think I was in time, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. And you just said now we are going to have some nice presentations. Now we're going to have some more nice presentations because I enjoyed yours as well, and so did the others online. I expect. Like I said in the beginning, please, if you do have any questions, remarks, write them in the chat or just write them down here. And I suggest to combine everything. And if time allows, then just before the break, we will go through that. I do see that Nicola is online and to check. Nicola sent it, so we do have it locally available. If you, yeah.
Hello, Andre. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah, I will share my screen if it is okay for you.
Great. Then we don't have to do anything else here.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Nicola, and the floor is yours.
Okay, let me try to do this, and you let me know if everything goes fine. How do I do this? Sorry, what do I have to click to share? Okay, share my screen. Maybe it's here.
You can go to the lower part of the screen. There will be the sign of a screen, but it's a slash. You anyway click on it, and it will give you the option to share.
Okay.
Please
Okay.
share your full screen, otherwise it will give you problems, I think.
Is that okay?
Perfect.
Yes.
Yes, you see it? Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. So I will present you briefly the BIM SPEED platform and the ecosystem for renovation of services that we have around it. So to present you the BIM SPEED platform, it's like a layered architecture where you have different set of services that can be used to build the added value. At the core of the platform, you have a collaboration suite, which makes it possible for the users to manage documents, to create tasks, to share agendas in the way that you do with Doodle, so you can plan some meetings and things like that. You've got some chats, and you've got also a live conferencing system, which makes it possible to collaborate with all the connected people at one time. On the top of that, we have built some process supporting services. Among them, we have a central authentication, which makes it possible to get connected to a platform, but also to other integrated services that we will see later. We have a kind of store that Timo was talking about a few minutes ago, which has been improved with some BIM SPEED partner services. And we also have some kind of folder automations, which make it possible to create some folders with predefined architectures and predefined triggering of certain services if required. On the top of that, we have created some enabler services for renovations, which has been designed by CSTB. Among them, we have a weather service. I will show you a small video about it so you can understand how it gets integrated with the platform. So this is a concrete example so you understand how to integrate external services with it. We have proposed also some GIS related services. So it's an open data about GIS, which is available for the platform users in order to retrieve information about the renovation sites. And we have also some material related services. So it's a service which takes an IFC file and adds some material related information so you can go to a simulation phase later, for instance. And then on the top of that, we've got the BIM SPEED partner services, and there are several of them, and some of them will be presented later today. So we have integrated the SciP ecosystem, for instance, and we have some other IoT-related services, scan-related services, and simulation-related services, which has been designed by several partners. And this is a demonstration about how you integrate external services around this kernel here, which is in the middle. And something I have to mention as well is that with this project, we have a competition going on, meaning that you can, as a user, get registered to the platform and turn the platform into the BIM SPEED platform to use it. And I will talk about that later. And the interesting thing is that around the kernel that we have here, we have an API which is used by the external services here to get in connection with the collaboration suite, for instance, or some internal services here. And this is what makes the ecosystem usable, and this is a way for the external services to get involved inside the BIM SPEED platform. So to give an overview, Timo talked a little bit about that. The platform, the BIM SPEED platform, actually is built on the top of the KROQI platform, which is a French initiative led by the French state in order to promote BIM for the SMEs. So it's a very easy to use server cloud application that you can use with all the services which are made available for the BIM SPEED platform with some existing services. But what we have done here is that it's like if we had a support of a KROQI platform which is dedicated to the BIM Speed partners and to renovation, where the platform gets branded as BIM Speed, and you've got a set of services, which is the set of BIM Speed partner services which are exposed to the end users. So let's take a look at the core features that you may be interested in. Inside the platform, you've got a document management system, which is the core of the collaboration, of course, because you need to exchange documents if you want to collaborate. So there is a user management system. You can manage the folders and get and create groups and users and assign some access rights to this group and users to certain folders. You've got document versioning, like you do with Google Drive, for instance, or with Dropbox, which is the same way of working. You can comment documents, you can share files, you have online visualization of PDF files or things like that to make it very, very simple. And you also have a validation workflow, which is quite simple, but still efficient to validate documents among the team. And you've got a local drive application which makes it possible to synchronize your local folders with the folders which are managed by the platform in the cloud. So it's very easy to use, and it's very user-friendly because everyone is used nowadays to use this kind of application. On the top of that, you've got some collaboration services which are integrated with the document management system. So as I told you, you can have some discussion threads. It's almost like a Slack if you want. You've got some video conferencing which is integrated, so you don't need to go to an extra tool like Teams or whatever, or to communicate with your partners, because you are able to launch a video conferencing very easily from inside the platform. You've got a task management system which works like a Trello. You've got calendar management, and you've got the central authentication system. And on the top of that, we've got some KROQI services which were pre-existing before we have done and we have participated into the BIM Speed project. So from these pre-existing services, I can say the name of the naming convention service, for instance, which is a service which makes it possible for end users to force the naming convention of some files inside the platform. And you've got the EeB application as well. This is a desktop application which is free, which you can download and which is connected to a platform where you can download numeric models like IFC files, and you can visualize them. You can take some measures. You can use them very, very easily and conveniently for free. And on the top of that, you've got, of course, the BIM Speed renovation services which are integrated. And I just said a few words about them, but you've got all the internal services that was there, the service to get registered to the competition, and also some partner BIM Speed partner services, which will be presented later. So a few words about how to get enrolled in the BIM Speed platform. As I told you, we are currently a competition which is currently running. So if you want to get access to the BIM Speed platform, you can get access to the competition. So what you need to do first is that you need to create an account in the BIM Speed platform. Okay, so as a user with login password, very classic, you create a user account. From there, you are able to create a workspace inside the platform. So the workspace usually is the name. You choose any name which is not taken already, of course, but you can give the name of your company, for instance, or your own name if you want, and then you've got a workspace which is specific name.kroqi.fr. And once you have a workspace, you can create several projects, okay, and you can invite users to take part in them and so on. And from that place here, you can call a service which is the BIM Speed competition service, which will enroll your account inside the BIM Speed project competition. And once you get enrolled in this BIM Speed competition, you get a free plan for the competition, meaning that you have free access to the platform all the way during the BIM Speed project. You've got a BIM Speed branding, meaning that the platform is not anymore a KROQI platform, but it's a BIM Speed platform from now on. And then you get access to all the service pack of BIM Speed partners which were integrated during the project. And from that step on, then you can use the BIM Speed services to do some renovation. So Let's take a quick example about how it is working. You've got here my BIMSPEED account, which I have created for the project, so bimspeed.kroqi.fr. But once again, you can name it as you want. And I turned this workspace, this KROQI workspace, into a BIMSPEED workspace. So it's now branded with BIMSPEED. It is supported by European community, of course. And you can see here on the left side that I've got all the communication services which I told you about. So I can search through documents. I can take a look at my task, my calendar, my invitations, my validations, if someone required me to validate a document. And in my workspace, I've got several projects that I can see here, and I can chat lively with all my BIMSPEED partners and maybe start a video conferencing with them if required. Okay,
Nicolas,
and then
Nicolas, sorry to interfere you, but I gave you already some additional time. Could you, well, I do not know how much is left. You can continue, of course, but please keep time.
Yeah, I've got now 2 more minutes. Is that okay?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
So, so this is an example where I am inside my platform. I will enter one project, so you can create project. I've got several projects which are creating. Let's say I'm doing some renovation here, and when I create one specific project, I get access to all the specific services, and among them, I've got the list of the BIMSPEED services because this workspace has been turned into a BIMSPEED services. From now, I can get access to a toolbox with some predefined folder structures. Among them, I can take the BIMSPEED proposed folder structure, but I can still use my own structures if I want. And if I create this structure here, it will create a predefined structure to help me to do some renovation. And I've got a dedicated folder with all the documents for the competition and also some specific content which has been provided by the partners. For instance, this Access file, which is meant to calculate KPIs about renovation. So let's now activate this this instantiation of folders here, and you will see that it has been successfully done. So if I come back to my folder structure, I now have my predefined folder structure proposed by BIMSPEED, and there will be some over in the future. I can get access to the competition documents. And let's say that I want to go inside that folder, which is supposed to get the IFC file before renovation. I can upload an IFC file here, which I will do. Let's upload this one, for instance. And from now on, I can trigger services from my BIMSPEED partners. So let's take a look at one example here. From this IFC file, I trigger the possible services. So I still have a list of BIMSPEED partner services, and I will call my my weather specific service, for instance. So I am triggering the service here. Okay, go to the marine service. This will parse the IFC file, extract the location, and propose me to download all the relevant weather data to perform some thermal simulation, for instance. So you can see that the site was Victoria from the location taken from the IFC file, which is in Spain, and I want to extract all the weather data for this year, and I want to extract data in a format compliant with Energy Plus, for instance. I click extract to KROQI, and then next step, once it's done, I've got a feedback from this service inside my document management system. So I can use these data weather to perform some simulation. So this is an example here which demonstrates how to create a workspace, how to call all the partner services from BIMSPEED. So you can enroll the competition from these services here. If you go to the toolbox, you can trigger, for instance, the default BIMSPEED renovation structure where you have got some tools here, and effectively, and from now on, you can call any other services, and some other of these services will be presented. So as a conclusion, and it has been said by Timo, we want with this platform break the monopoly of some existing platform, because we want to bring some various producers of services to the customers. And with a platform in the middle, we are able to coordinate different services and propose an alternative to existing platforms. Okay, that's it, and I leave the floor to the next guy.
Thank you very much, Nicola. I think we have to work on the server as well, a bit on the synchronization, because apparently in Rome time is going faster than in France. In France it's 2 minutes, here it was 5, I think. But no worries, because I think it was very inspiring, which provides us a bit of time to go to the next speaker. Pablo, are you? Unmute yourself, please. Okay, there you are.
Hello, can you hear me?
You did upload your presentation, or are you going to present it from
Ah,
your side?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Do you mind?
Perfect.
Okay, so share screen.
We are slightly behind schedule, but to me and looking around here, not so much a problem. So take your time, but if you could strive for 10 minutes, that would be great.
Okay, so I will start the timer in order to try to be according to the time. Can you hear me well, and can you see my screen, right?
Perfect.
Okay, so well, hello everyone. My name is Pablo Girabet. I'm an architect and I'm the innovation director at SIPE. Well, first of all, I would like to share where we come from and why we are participating in this project in order to understand our goals. Firstly, well, today we are going to talk about BIM, but I'm sure most of you have been in many presentations, and I'm sure you are tired about, well, talking about these concepts, LOD, the different dimensions, the impact of the BIM into the different phases. But today I would like to talk about something else. Of course, we have to talk about 3D modeling when we talk about BIM. We need to start sharing digital construction data. This is something we are going to do. We are doing. But I would like to talk also about productivity, because I think this is the most important thing. You know, trying to develop our projects in less time with higher quality in order to, well, use this time in what really matters, no? Our family, hobbies, friends, or whatever. And this is what we wanted to do. We want to do in our platform and inside of BIM Speed. So I think 5 years ago, or maybe 6 years ago, we decided to modify our strategy as a SIPE company, because we have some isolated solutions for structures, MEP, bill of quantities, whatever. And we decided to move to another type of structure. So we really realized that in the current area, in the age of the digitalization, when we have to develop a project, we have many sexy tools in the market. We have a lot of different applications. So it's impossible to solve one project with just one application, like maybe some years ago with AutoCAD or some others. So we realized that the important thing in a project is not the software you are using, is the data you are sharing and how this data is flowing in the workflow. You know, so we wanted to control that. That's why we generated this ecosystem I'm going to show you with a core in the middle, which is a platform, BIMSERVER.center. The idea was including different services in order to persuade, in order to seduce some of the different stakeholders of the construction sector. So we have in different services in BIMSERVER, we have the possibility of having an application market in order to integrate the software developers. We have a new layer, which is the CDE, the Common Data Environment, in order to develop projects and share information, integrate architects, engineers, whatever. We have also a new layer to provide a kind of social network, to share data between different professionals, to include the industrials in the different processes of BIM generation, and a new layer to integrate the administration and external certification companies. So this was our idea, I think 5 years ago. And I think we saw in BIM Speed the possibility of scaling up this idea, making the connection with some other platforms that follows the same idea, I guess. You know, the results nowadays is that we have more than 150 applications in this store. All of them are working with open data. This is something we really consider important, working with IFC, GLTF, PDFs, open data. This is the common language for all these different developers. And I made a screenshot yesterday, and we have right now more than 100,000 users, more than 260,000 BIM projects, and more than 350,000 download applications. So the results have been amazing. So I think we are good. We are in the good line. We are in the right way. Well, this is about the introduction. Now I would like to share with you how the data flows into the system and how we are connecting with some other platforms like BIM platform. Well, here what we have is we start the project with a design with the architectural model. So we upload this information to the cloud, and then connected to BIMSERVER, we have more than 150 applications, as I told you, to solve a lot of different areas: energy analysis, LCA, plumbing, urbanism, fire, structures, well, anything we need to calculate or to check in a project. With this information, with this data, any kind of software will read the data needed to do the different calculations, and they will generate some other output in open data, in IFC. So what we have in the end is a kind of loop, which is the most important thing. So we are not working with exporting one IFC, then importing to one model. We are working with references, with links. So if we modify something over here, we will get a warning in our applications of plumbing saying, okay, consider that something has been modified. The design has been modified or the calculation has been modified. You know, the idea here is working with a database. So we have a folder with a lot of different IFCs coming from the different applications. And we already know that in one applications, we are going to, read for thermal analysis. We are going to read the power of the lightings in the different spaces. We are going to read the composition of the construction elements. So according to that, we upload it, and the thermal analysis will be in charge, software will be in charge of getting this data. So this is the idea, working with a database. Let's focus on the eco part. I told you we have a lot of different applications, but we can group in 3 different small groups. The most important one I want to share with you is the one related to energy analysis. It's important in order to check the different measures we want to consider when we apply, new systems into renovation buildings. And here we have different applications. We have Cyberterm E+, where we have integrated the Energy Plus solver into a BIM interface. We have also done it with the CSTB engine, Comet. And then we have some other applications to check the regulations of the different countries. In our case, we have done it for Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, in order to generate the energy certification, the official energy certification. Well, some other applications are focused on energy audits, the calculation of thermal loads, and here we have a couple of applications we have generated in order to improve the workflow in BIM Speed. I will tell you later what's it about. Then we have another group, which is the LCA applications. In our case, we have 2. One is open BIM quantities, and the approach here is that in many countries, here, for instance, in Spain, it's not mandatory to develop this analysis of LCA in most of the projects. So what we are trying to do is, at the same time you are generating the cost estimation of your building, we have the possibility of calculation an estimation of the CO2 and the waste generated according to the elements, the construction system you are using. This is open BIM quantities, always connected to BIM. And for France, we have integrated as well the engine of CSTB, LOD, in a product which is LOD by SIP, in order to generate a detailed environmental analysis to check the real behavior of the real impact of our decisions. This is something we can do connected to the system in the same way. And then we have a lot of different applications focused on building services, photovoltaic, solar, lighting, HVAC systems. We have, I think, more than 20 applications working in that way. The good point is that all of them work in the same direction. So I would like to zoom on this part, the energy analysis part, in order to explain what we have done in BIM Speed. Well, this is the natural workflow. It's having a BIM model coming from any kind of software, ArchiCAD, Revit, Outplan, whatever, uploading it to the BIM server and importing and reading this data from the different energy analysis tools. But it doesn't work. Why? Because when we generate a BIM and an IFC with these applications, they don't really care about this energy analysis part. In the IFC standard, we have some different entities, parameters that are optional. So they can decide if they want to include it in or not. In most of the cases, we don't find this information. So we don't have information of the edges, so we can't calculate the thermal breaches. And we don't have a lot of information about the space boundaries. So what we have done is modifying this workflow and including a new ingredient in this recipe, which is Open BIM Analytical Model. In this case, what we are doing is, okay, we are going to make some kind of geometrical analysis according to the original BIM model to develop this part of edges, space boundary that we are missing right now. And the final goal is arriving to the energy analysis tool with all the data to generate the different calculations, even controlling the thermal breaches. So this is something we have done. The final workflow will be something like this. Is okay, we have one original IFC, but we include some new IFCs with extra data. So the different applications focus on the generation of the BIM model will be sensible to read this data. I told you about Open BIM Analytical Model, but we have done the same in order to specify the construction definition, the construction elements. Because this is something, this IFC is something that we can use for some other kind of analysis, like acoustics or any other kind of analysis where we need this data. So we have added these new layers. Then, well, what we have done is in the project, of course, creating these new applications, but what we have done is generating a bridge between the BIM Speed platform and BIMSERVER.center. So here what we can do is, okay, I have a project over here and I have a project over here. So I want to send these files here or bring this data here. BIMSERVER is focused mainly in analysis on simulations because this is our background, CP background, and BIM Speed platform has amazing features.
Pablo,
yeah.
Are you capable to wrap up within 2 minutes? Italian minutes?
Yeah. 2 minutes more, even less. So I was telling you that BIM Speed has amazing features for communication and so on. The goal is trying to open this door to share data between the different applications. And this is what we have done. We have generated this application. Well, to finalize, showing you some screenshots of some other applications we have to make the calculation of the LCA. So we can include this data also in the BIM Speed platform because we have the connection. Some other about building services. What I mean here is that there are no limits. We can work in that way. We can, what we have done in BIM Speed is generating the path of this information and then be open to any kind of information and to share with the others. To finalize, showing you some new areas where we are researching. we have developed a free solution to help the owners of restaurants, offices, to accomplish with the regulations of the the COVID, to avoid the spread of COVID-19. The air renovable, the social distancing, etc. And well, we are researching about new possibilities of making calculations with open data in this kind of ecosystem. Accessibility, urban analysis to help public bodies to make this analysis of regulations, quality control, health and safety, even arriving to the level of detail of defining switchboards, or on the other hand, including this information into the BIM systems. And that's all. The conclusion is that we are working, all of us, in the same way. We have a lot of new possibilities to work, and I would like to invite you to have a walk in our platform and check some of these different tools I told you. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pablo. Thank you very much. I suggest, because we arrived in a program where we have a break, to have a 4-minute break, stretch your leg, maybe get some coffee, get rid of your old coffee. And Julius, if you could be ready in 4 minutes, then we take it on from there.
All right.
Yeah. I think you're there, Julius, right?
Yes,
Do you hear
please.
us?
Yeah, I hear you well. Andrew?
And we hear you, but very weak. So
Can you hear me, Andrew?
very poor. So could you maybe just
Very
elaborate
poor.
your microphone?
Better like this? Is it better like this?
This is better. Great.
Okay.
And you're about to share yourself, right? Your screen.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
If you could try to limit it down to 10 minutes, that would be really appreciated. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to be with you in Rome. Thunderstorm, so I could not manage to come to Rome. We have had some very nice, a bit more into the detail of renovation designs.
We cannot hear you very well, Julius, and we see your screen, but not in presenter mode. So it is a bit small, and we hardly can hear you.
Okay. Right now? Is it presenter mode right now?
Not yet, but the sound is better.
Let me try again.
Yeah. Could you share your full screen and not just a window, Julius?
I'm just trying this. Let me check.
With the video.
This one.
Could you switch off, maybe, Julius, your video and just by audio? Not that we do not want to see you, but performance is better then.
Screen share right now?
Yeah, that's better. Way better.
Better. All right.
Thank you.
Ray, is it okay like now?
We can hear you and we
Okay.
can see you.
Thank you. And I will go a bit more into the detail of you know you want to renovate a building, but next slide. The subject is platform-based optimization of.
Sorry, Julius, but your sound is really scattered.
I'm afraid it's due to internet connection. Andre, I'm talking slow now. Let's try it again.
Let's try it again. Yeah.
Optimization is according to different criteria. There are lots of different KPIs from environmental aspects, and there are KPIs from social aspects, and of course, what is most relevant for investment cost, operating cost, life cycle cost, etc. Right? The sound? Can I continue?
Well, it's still not very good, but I see people very concentrated to hear you, so you achieved your goal. We switch off video as well, and let's give it another try, Julius.
All right. I continue slowly and I make it quick. When we talk about endless opportunities, if we just think about renovation of walls, different insulation thicknesses for the walls, for exchanging the windows, we have the opportunity of different window dimensions. We quickly become. If we continue, we might want to go a bit more the HVAC system and maybe add a heat recovery system, we're nearly a few million variants. And then maybe we say, okay, we want to add photovoltaics. And then we closely say, yes, most of these variants, they are not relevant at all, but of these variants, there still remain a lot, among which we have optimal according to the KPIs that we've selected. What about optimization? Then, of course, we have different stakeholders. I will come to this a bit later. We have contradicting aims as well. So if we increase our internal insulation, this is we will add an internal insulation. If we increase the insulation thickness at the same, so these are contradicting aims against any other aim.
Julian,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. I'm terribly sorry, but it's very difficult to understand here. And to be honest, we also have just 1 or 2 minutes left. So maybe this would be a suggestion. Is there one final conclusion or recommendation to really summarize it? And then if you could send us the presentation, then we will make sure that it will be distributed to the people who are attending. Because again, it's quite impossible to follow, to be honest.
All right, Andre. I will not. These are a few screens of the final platform that we are about to. I don't want to burden you. Maybe you're a lack of time. We do it like this, huh, Andre? Okay, I can't hear you.
Now you're completely gone, Julia. So don't want to be impolite, but I suggest to stop here. Sorry for this. But again, if you communicate the presentation distributed to us, then we will make sure that it will be distributed amongst the others. So again, sorry for that, but that is again the challenges.
No problem. Thank you. Sorry.
One of the challenges right now working in hybrid mode, but we'll catch up later. So we really have to move on to Richard Zichter from Plan Bouwen. Are you here, Richard? Are you with us? Could you, because we did not see you yet, could you request to be admitted? Okay, we are working on it.
We just wanted permission so he should be able to share his video and audio.
Okay. I would take the PDF. The gray. This one? Or do the PowerPoint? Yeah, one below. Yeah. Are you with us, Richard? Because we granted you permission, so you should be able to join if you share your microphone and video. Let's do it like this and provide you a little bit more time. Could you jump in, Agnieszka, and then we change order and see if possible. So.
Hello, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Now it is competition who has the less errors.
All right. Do you have my presentation or shall I share my screen? Okay, I hope you can hear me now because I don't get any feedback from you, but yeah, I will get started. So okay, let's get started. I only got about 10 minutes, so 2 minutes already left, so I get started now. I want to give you an idea on what we are working on in this project, and especially what have been done with our partners at TU Berlin, EBC, FIEC, Demo, and MOW, RIVA, and ACE. We will have some time to talk it over at the end of this sessions block, I hope. My name is Richard. I earned my degree in industrial engineering and management from Technical University of Berlin. I work for Plan Bauen since 2019, and I'm responsible there for this project BIM Speed at the moment. Plan Bauen is the digitization hub for the architecture, engineering, and construction industry in Germany. Lately, I was involved in the preparation of the DIN BIM roadmap, which will be published soon. In BIM Speed project, I'm involved since late 2020. Now I'd like to share with you an insight into our current work for BIM Speed guidelines, for BIM-based procurement, collaboration protocols, and integrated project delivery for renovation. Why do we work out these guidelines? The purpose for these guidelines are shaped by distinct developments, such as the need for renovation of large parts of the existing building stock to achieve reduction in energy consumption and CO2 emissions. Also, public awareness is rising that the building stock is accounting to a large quantity of energy consumption and emissions. Public time and budget constraints and building industry, which is characterized by micro, small, and medium enterprises, meet rising demands for energy-efficient buildings. Digitization and BIM in particular promise to enable cheaper and faster renovation. Although construction in current building stock and energy renovation plays a big role in the industry so far, BIM research and development focused on new building projects. Also, SMEs have experienced difficulties to implement BIM technologies. This calls for a guideline that helps to integrate BIM into the theme complex of renovation to make use of it, boosting at the same time efficiency and time constraints. With the guidelines we present for officials dealing with public procurement, SMEs, and also policymakers who are not satisfied with current instructions on BIM and renovation, our guideline is a new structured effort of bringing together valuable information and overview. This provides insights to basic concepts of BIM-based procurement, collaboration protocols, and IPD, as well as to the legal aspects connected, giving strategic and practical guidance on what to think about in a renovation project with BIM. The procurement and IPD.
Sorry to interrupt. It's about that it is about the sheet. We were still seeing the first sheet.
Okay, sorry. On my screen, I see the screen number 5.
Yeah, you're now okay. Okay, you're aligned again. Thank you.
but I didn't do anything, so I don't know what's the
Oh.
solution to that.
And it's somewhere in the cyber space.
Okay, so I go forward, right? All right. So yeah, let's get back to presentation. So the idea is to give strategic and practical guidance on what to think about in renovation projects with BIM, procurement aspects, and IPD, and this reinforced with practical experiences from demo case scenarios for a practical understanding for the audience. Also, it entails an overview and further references on the topics. Unlike other BIM guidelines, it focuses explicitly on renovation projects and related issues and solutions. Let's go over and see how we worked out the guidelines. At the start of developing guidelines for BIM-based procurement and so on, stand the formulation of an objective, creating a useful guide for practitioners. To achieve this, we developed this kind of roadmap that you can see. It started with intensive literature review, combined this with a series of workshops in which our partners, together with that, put together all the relevant aspects of renovation projects, BIM and related collaboration protocols and legal aspects that we could grasp. Parallel to that, we started to speak with different other stakeholders to understand what is important and what not, and to expand our knowledge base. For that, we also hold interviews with other stakeholders to understand what is important and to double check our findings and understand the current situation in renovation projects. We talked also to a number of demonstration cases which deal with the topics on a day-to-day basis. Later on, we again held workshops to find out about what is important to present and what can be addressed by informing the audience where to find it. The key outcome is a guide that entails roughly 3 important aspects: key aspects of public procurement, key aspects of BIM-based renovation, and key aspects of IPD. For public procurement, it explains what needs to be known in general about BIM procurement and what the legislative framework is in which one has to operate, which standard contract forms exist, and what collaboration protocols fit in. Also, it describes barriers that exists and what to do with them. For BIM-based renovation, the guide gives insights on what to think in renovation projects such as data acquisition and quality. They use technology, costs, how to deal with inhabitants, and organize collaboration in a market that is characterized by SMEs performing renovations. Additionally, the guide presents with integrated project delivery a method that can help to make use of BIM and advance collaboration by bringing in important stakeholders as early as possible, sharing risk and reward, introducing new ways of collaborative decision-making, and so on. The concept of presenting the organized content is pretty straightforward. Give the reader sufficient information as necessary on the basic concepts to understand them, then give strategic and practical guidance for the implementation of the concepts. Provide examples via demo case scenarios, and also give structured overview on what other information sources exist, such as standard use cases, standard templates, other useful guidelines and glossaries, as well as an overview on existing standards with relevance for the field.
Richard, could you please conclude in 1 or ultimately 2 minutes? Sorry for that, but we have to watch time.
Yes, 1.5 minutes and I'm finished.
Great.
So, yeah, this is my last slide. Inside we describe, as I said, procurement methods and construction and their legal aspects with regards to BIM. We give reference here to different situations in different EU member states and the regulatory framework, such as BIM guidelines and so on, and mandates across Europe. Also, we describe different types of contracts. We display different project delivery methods, as I said, and what relationships BIM has to them, and also give strategic and practical guidelines, presenting typical issues which occur only in renovation projects and how they can be tackled. Some examples here: the legislative framework, typical contracts, the knowledge, and also lack of building documentation in renovation project, lack of collaboration, and so on. And as a last thing, I want to point out that the overview that we give in this guidelines is really important for us, because it gives a broad overview on further references that can include national or international standards, guidelines, glossaries, and so on, which are important to understand the field of BIM. Okay, looks like time is up already, so I've got to wrap this up, and I'm happy to hand over to the next presenter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. Okay, that leaves us to the last speaker in line, Agnieszka. I suggest, because we have a very long lunch after this, to extend it a bit. So take another 10 minutes additional, because it really would be a bummer if we would skip this very interesting part. So while we are firing up the presentation, I'll give the floor to you, Agnieszka.
So I will introduce a little bit the demonstration site that we have in the BIM Speed project. In total, we have 11 demonstration sites. Nevertheless, today I will speak about 2 of them that, in this moment, are the most representative one. You can, if I wanted to ask if everybody see my slides.
No, we don't for now.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
If you can put the next one. Okay, sorry. So I will talk today about the 2 demonstrators, one in Spain and one in the Netherlands. Let's start with the one in Spain. So the first demo site is a group of 2 residential buildings located in urban area of Victoria in Spain, Basque Country. Those buildings are part of Lighthouse demonstrators in Smart City Horizon 2020 project. And the goal of this project is to develop a systematic approach for transforming European city into sustainable, smart, and resource-efficient urban environment in Europe. And within this project, the renovation activities has been done, and they then consists of insulation of the building envelope with focus on facades and the roof, and connection of the dwellings to the new district heating system based on biomass energy. And during the BIM Speed project, new tools and solutions supporting as-built data acquisition, designing, energy simulation, and construction works have been implemented. So first step was a performance of a digital process for gathering the data about the building to create as-built model. So firstly, 3D laser scanning was made, and a point cloud that describes the geometry of each of the building was performed. And based on the point cloud, a BIM model was created. The model was done with sorry, I thought that it was a question. So the model was done with one of the tools that was developed within a BIM Speed project by the KROQI, our partner. This tool is called 3D Dash, and it allows to support the creation of as-built models using point clouds. And next step was the thermal 3D mapping to help detect heat losses and the air leakage in the building envelopes before renovation. In parallel with retrofitting works, the comfort condition and the energy consumption monitoring infrastructure was deployed in the dwellings. This monitoring infrastructure consisted of a kit of sensors to measure indoor air, indoor temperature, humidity, and CO2, and also electric consumption. Next. Building information model was used to perform energy calculation and to select the best and the most appropriate and adjusted renovation scenario. And from the data gathered from the monitoring of the building was used for the calibration process. So to have the most appropriate results of the energy simulation and be sure that they are adjusted to the reality. Here we can see the building before, and if you can click, it should Yes, one more time. Before and after renovation. Next slide. And in BIM Speed project, also several applications using augmented reality are under development. First, RR application shows over the real image how the building was before retrofitting works, and also some general data about the building are provided. Previous image of the building can be easily forgotten when the new one is in place. That would like thanks to our application, it's easier to remember the previous state and compare it with the final state. Also, our application helps to show thermal images where thermal bridges are shown in both previous and the final state. Next one. Now, a few words about our second demonstration, building in Warmond in the Netherlands. So these 4 three-story residential apartment blocks were constructed in 1969 in the village of Vermont. Initially, the external walls didn't have the insulation. Nevertheless, during the last renovation, the insulation has been added to the cavity wall. Currently, the buildings still make use of natural gas for the heating system. Nevertheless, the goal is to disconnect the building from the gas and use some more sustainable energy sources for meeting the heating demands. The BIM SPEED project demonstrates how the new tools can fit the design and energy simulation process with valuable data. And tools that support receiving feedback from the resident also will be tested. So here also to analyze the accuracy of the constructed model, a point cloud of the building was made through the laser scanning. Later, the point cloud was used to perform deviation analysis. So this was done through the following steps: point cloud cleaning and filtering, extracting 3D mesh of the building shell, superpositioning the target mesh and the point cloud, and displaying the results of the deviation analysis. This analysis helped us to modify and improve the model according to the actual situation. One of the main objectives of the BIM SPEED is to develop a tool for building indoor acoustic performance assessment based on common standards, which will support the decision-making for renovation strategies. The measurement survey performed in the Warmond demo site allowed to collect all relevant data for acoustic comfort evaluation before renovation and for calibration of BIM-based acoustic comfort models. The sound pressure level at various locations, both outside and inside the building, have been measured to determine the exterior noise to be used as the inputs in the acoustic model and the actual comfort level, respectively. Next one. And here, in addition, beam forming technique has been used to make a map, to map the acoustic leakages on the building facades. And here we can see that there is a leakage on the top right window corner. So during the renovations, focus should be paid here. Next one. Implementing a monitoring plan is crucial to validate the energy model of building. This will allow us to do an accurate assessment and improvements obtainable through different kind of renovation scenario. Moreover, the collected data about the thermal comfort, indoor environmental quality, acoustic comfort will support choices of renovation design for the specific comfort situation. And also a post-occupancy evaluation can be planned as well to have a complete cycle. With an equipment developed by project partner UNIF-PM ComfortEye, evaluation of the indoor environmental quality can be performed. We can measure thermal comfort, air temperature, humidity, mean radiant temperature, air velocity, CO2, and particulate matter concentration. Next one. Here we have picture of the installed equipment in the building in one of the flats. And this is the last slide with the results, or like first results of the analysis from the summer period. And in order to assess the indoor air quality and thermal comfort, there was a methodology proposed that according to this methodology, we have a classification of the building into 4-step scale. And the first category represent a high level of the expectation. So it means that those building and flats are recommended for the people very sensitive with special requirements, sick, young children, and elderly person. And for instance, here on the left, we can see that when it comes to the thermal comfort during the summer period, in general, the building needs renovation because it only operates in the best category of the building during 10% of all the time. And when it comes to the air quality, here is much more better because in general, the building is almost all the time in the best quality of the building. So thanks to such KPI, also we can assess and choose the best renovation scenario. That's all for me. I try to be dense and concrete. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Very concrete, clear, and in time. So thank you very much. And I'm always thrilling for these kind of research projects when you see stuff really applied in practice, and especially if it's on a demonstration cases that we do know very well in the Netherlands. So thanks for that, Agnieszka. But overall, apologies for the technical issues. Thanks a lot for your understanding and patience to deal with it. On the end of the day, I think these sessions are more about inspiring each other. So whether it was flawless or not, that's not the case. I hope that you are inspired a bit. If you do have any questions, I don't think that we have the time, and I do not know whether there was something put online, but I do not want to block your lunch right now. There is, however, one question or a request or a recommendation that I would like to give is one of the unique elements in this project, in my opinion, is that we have organized a competition where students and professionals can enter. Registration is still open. It's not very long anymore. It's a couple of weeks. So I would really like to urge you, and if it's to take a look at it. If not applicable or interesting for yourself, please spread the news, distribute it among students, other professionals, because then we really can enjoy, I would say, a lively competition with hopefully nice results. And that's even better to, at the one hand, evaluate the results of this project. But like we said in the beginning, this is all about really making it happen, really make it applicable, and that would be very helpful. So thanks on behalf of all the speakers, and well, we see each other, I guess, in the coming days. So if there's questions or other stuff, you know where to find us. Thank you. Bye-bye. I think.
Goodbye.